The sky had turned a dim, sullen grey by the time Mira and I stepped into the house. The echo of our footsteps filled the emptiness like an unwelcome reminder. No voices, no movement, no warmth, just silence. Heavy and strange. Uncle Ramish's accident had pulled the entire family to the hospital in a flurry of panic. Except for us. We had just returned from college, backpacks still slung over our shoulders when the call came in. "He's in critical care," my mother had said. "Stay at the house. Lock it up. We'll update you." So here we were too. Cousins, left behind by the rush of crisis. Mira walked in first, tossing her bag carelessly near the hallway. Her expression was unreadable, almost bored, but I'd known her long enough to see the tension in her shoulders. The living room looked frozen in time. A half-folded blanket on the sofa. A water glass on the side table. The TV remote skewed. As if someone had left in a hurry. Which they had. "I'll make tea," Mira said suddenly, heading toward the kitchen. "No, it's fine," she cut in. I watched her go, unsure of what to do with myself. We hadn't seen each other much in the past year. College kept us busy. But more than that, something had changed. We were no longer children who played cards during power cuts, or shared secrets and whisper fights after midnight. That familiarity had faded, replaced by something quieter, and now, being alone with her felt oddly exposed. I sank into the couch, fingers tapping aimlessly on my knees. Thunder rolled in the distance. Mira returned with 2 mugs, handing one to me. Her fingers brushed mine for the briefest second, and I felt the heat long after she pulled away. "Still rains every time we come home," she said. I nodded. "Some things don't change." We sat in silence, sipping. The clock ticked louder than it should have. She looked around the room. "It's weird without them here." Yeah. Kind of peaceful, she added, then smiled softly. "Is that wrong?" "No," I said. "But it feels wrong to enjoy it." She didn't respond. Instead, she curled her legs under her on the couch, her gaze distant. The rain began to patter lightly on the roof. The sound filled the space between us. "I was supposed to be at a party tonight," she said. "Didn't feel like going after the call." "Same. I had plans too." "Guess we both got out of them." I almost laughed, but didn't. It didn't feel right. Instead, I looked at her. Her hair was slightly damp from the walk-in. She wore an oversized sweatshirt, probably borrowed from her dad, sleeves covering her hands. Her eyes weren't bored anymore. They were watching me back. We used to be close. There was a time when I told her everything, when she was the only one who listened. But years had layered dust over that bond, and now neither of us knew how to reach for it again. "I'm sorry about Uncle," I said finally. She shrugged, too fast. "He'll be okay. Probably yelling at the nurses already." She stood and walked toward the bookshelf. Her fingers trailed across the spines, pausing now and then, not to pick anything but just to feel something tangible. "You ever wonder if things are supposed to break?" she asked without turning around. I hesitated. "What do you mean?" "I don't know. Families, trust, all of it. Maybe it's normal." "That's a dark way to see it." "Is it?" She turned to face me. "Or is it just honest?" Her gaze was sharp, but not angry. Just tired. Like she'd been thinking about this for longer than she was willing to admit. Asterisk, you okay? I asked. Asterisk, she shook her head. Not really. But it's easier to pretend. Asterisk. The words sat between us like wet clothes on a line heavy, reluctant to dry. Asterisk, a loud crack of thunder jolted us both. The lights flickered once but stayed on. Asterisk. I'm going to change, she said abruptly, and disappeared down the hallway. Asterisk, alone again. I stared at the untouched tea in my hands. The air felt heavier now. Not from the storm, but from something else, something rising between us like steam from a hidden boil. Asterisk. When she returned, she wore a different sweater. One of her own. She didn't say anything. Just sat again, closer this time. Asterisk, neither of us spoke, but we were both listening to the silence, the storm, and the invisible tension drawing tighter around the room. Asterisk outside, rain tapped the windows in slow, deliberate rhythm. Inside, everything felt like a held breath. The room felt smaller now. Asterisk Mira sat with her knees pulled up, chin resting lightly atop them. Her eyes were trained on the muted television screen, though it wasn't clear she was watching. I sat beside her, arms crossed, fingers digging faint crescents into my sleeves. Asterisk, the rain had intensified, rattling lightly against the windows like someone tapping to be let in. Or out. Asterisk, you remember when we used to build forts in here? She asked, eyes still on the screen. Asterisk, I nodded. You'd always take the best blankets. Asterisk, you let me. Asterisk, I smirked. You didn't give me much choice. Asterisk, she turned her head toward me. Her smile was faint, almost apologetic. You were nicer back then. Asterisk, I shrugged. Maybe I still am. Asterisk, she didn't answer. The silence settled between us again. Not awkward this time, just thick. Like syrup you can't swallow. Asterisk. Do you think things happen because we choose them? She said quietly. Or because we're pushed into them? Asterisk. The question struck a nerve. I didn't respond right away. Her voice had softened, lost in something deeper than casual thought. Asterisk. Think, I started, then stopped. Maybe it's both. A moment shows up and we decide what we become in it. Asterisk. She let out a breath through her nose. That sounds true. And dangerous. Asterisk, she leaned slightly toward me, just enough to make the space between us feel deliberate. My arm brushed hers. Neither of us moved. I'm cold, she murmured. Want the blanket? I asked, half rising. Asterisk, she didn't take it. Instead, she leaned closer, resting her head gently on my shoulder. My body went still, not tense but alert, hyper-aware. Asterisk. Her voice came again, low and near my ear. You always made me feel safe, you know? Asterisk, I swallowed. We were kids. Asterisk. Doesn't mean it wasn't real. Asterisk, the television cast a soft glow over her face. She wasn't looking at me, not fully. But she wasn't looking away, either. Her cheek was warm against my arm. You're my cousin, I said quietly. I know. She didn't move. Neither did I. My mind screamed every reason to pull away. Bloodlines. Consequences. Guilt. But something louder, something quieter, but more persuasive kept me still. Asterisk. Her hand found mine. Fingers slid between fingers. Slowly, like a question waiting for an answer. Asterisk, I didn't answer. Not aloud. Asterisk, she tilted her head up to look at me, eyes dark, unreadable. Do you want me to stop? Asterisk, my throat tightened. I couldn't speak, but my hand stayed in hers. Asterisk, and that was enough. Asterisk, she moved fast, a tentative press of her lips to mine. Brief, soft, uncertain. Not the kiss of lovers. Not yet. But not the kiss of family, either. I didn't stop her. The second kiss was longer. Our tea had gone cold. Asterisk, somewhere in the dim background, the rain hummed steadily, rhythmically. The kind of rain that shields you from the outside world. That makes time feel suspended. Asterisk, we shifted. Cautious, yet pulled forward by something we couldn't name. Her breath caught once, whether in hesitation or anticipation. I couldn't tell. My hands hovered, then settled at her waist. It felt wrong and right in the same breath. She whispered my name once, like a question, and I answered in silence. There were no declarations, no poetry, just warmth and gravity, two lost people leaning toward each other in the stillness. Asterisk, it didn't last long. Not really. But it was enough to change everything. Asterisk, when it was over, we sat apart close, yet no longer. Touching. The air had changed. Denser. Quieter. A soft post-storm silence that didn't match the rain still falling outside. Asterisk, Mira pulled the blanket around her, staring down at the pattern in the fabric. Her voice, when it came, was barely audible. Asterisk, this didn't happen. Asterisk, I turned toward her. Mira. Asterisk, no, she interrupted, eyes meeting mine now, sharper. This didn't happen. We're tired. We're scared. And nothing about tonight means anything. Asterisk, I searched her face for any trace of doubt, but she gave none. Asterisk, she was already retreating mentally, emotionally shoring up her defenses. Asterisk, I wanted to argue, say that it did mean something, that I wasn't sure what, but it wasn't nothing. Asterisk, instead, I said nothing. We sat like that for a long time. The room, once so familiar, felt alien now, like we'd redrawn its map and couldn't retrace our steps. Asterisk, eventually she stood. I'm going to bed. She didn't wait for a reply. I watched her disappear down the hallway, the echo of her footsteps soft but final. Asterisk, alone again, I turned. Off the TV. The screen went dark. Asterisk. So did the part of me that had hoped something might still be the same by morning. I woke to the sound of a kettle whistling. Asterisk, for a moment, I didn't remember where I was. Then it all returned last night like a stone dropped into still water, rippling through my mind before settling with a hard, cold thud. Asterisk, the couch cushions were stiff beneath me. My neck ached. The blanket Mira had taken was gone. So was she. Asterisk, the house was still dim. Morning light filtered through grey clouds, barely colouring the space. Everything looked the same. But I wasn't. I rose slowly, drawn toward the kitchen. Mira stood at the counter, back to me, pouring tea. She moved carefully, her posture tight, calculated. Not awkward, not cold, just controlled. Morning, I said. She didn't turn around. Tea's ready. I nodded, though she couldn't see it. We sat at the table without speaking. 2 cups, 2 people, and something invisible but loud between us. The rain had stopped, but it still felt like we were inside a storm. Asterisk, I watched her, unsure what to say. Every word I rehearsed in my head sounded either too big or too small. Asterisk, finally, she spoke. Asterisk, you don't have to say anything. Asterisk, I set my cup down, untouched. That's not true. Asterisk, it is, she said, eyes fixed on the window. We were both off balance. It happened. It doesn't have to mean more. Asterisk, but it does mean more. To you, maybe, she replied quietly. To you too. Don't pretend it doesn't. Asterisk, she didn't answer, but her hands gripped the cup a little tighter. Asterisk. I don't regret it, I said. I don't know what to do with it, but I don't regret it. Asterisk, she exhaled slowly, then looked at me for the first time. That's a dangerous thing to say. Asterisk. Why? Asterisk. Because if you don't regret it, it becomes a choice. And choices come with consequences. Asterisk, we sat in silence again. My chest felt heavy, like my own body was trying to resist what I was feeling. Asterisk. Do you hate me? I asked. Asterisk. No, she said immediately. Don't be stupid. Asterisk. Then what? Asterisk, she hesitated, then gave a small, broken laugh. I don't know. I just know this isn't a movie. There's no soundtrack, no cut to black. This is real. And we're going to have to carry it. Asterisk. Her words landed with more weight than I expected. She wasn't blaming me, but she wasn't offering comfort either. Asterisk, we finished our tea in silence. When she stood to rinse her cup, I noticed her shoulders shake barely, just once but enough, to make me ache. Asterisk, I wanted to reach out, but I didn't. The sound of a car pulling into the driveway broke the quiet. We froze. Voices. Doors slamming. Laughter, tired but relieved. They're back, Mira whispered, her voice fragile. I stood. We should. Asterisk, I know. Asterisk, we moved in sync, collecting cups, smoothing cushions, erasing all visible evidence of the night before. But nothing could clean what had changed inside us. Asterisk, the door opened, and familiar voices filled the house. My mother rushed in first, hugging me tight, asking how we'd managed alone. Behind her, Uncle Ramesh walked in slowly, bandaged but upright, defying the hospital bed like it had been a minor inconvenience. Asterisk, everyone was distracted. Everyone was exhausted, and no one noticed the silence between Mira and me. Asterisk, she hugged. Her father, her face a practiced calm. No tremor, no pause. She'd already put the mask back on. Asterisk, I stood beside her, watching the scene unfold like I was a guest in someone else's home. Asterisk, later, when the house was full again, I saw Mira in the hallway. She caught my eye, held it, just for a second. Asterisk, no. Smile, no nod, but something passed between us. A recognition, a quiet agreement that nothing would be spoken. That night, I couldn't sleep. Asterisk, I lay in my room, staring at the ceiling, listening to the rain start up again. Softer now, like an afterthought. Asterisk, I thought about her, about us, about how one night, one choice, could fracture something as foundational as family. And I wondered if Mira was awake too. I imagined her lying in bed, staring at her own ceiling, feeling the same weight in her chest. Asterisk, but I didn't go to her. I didn't try to explain. Some lines, once crossed, can't be walked back. Some silences say everything, and some nights, some brief, impossible nights leave no bruises on the skin, but a wound in the memory that never fully closes.